There was a case of a man who raped his 20-month-old baby. Who does that? There's obviously a sickness in the society that has to be dealt with. So what will work? How do we heal South Africa? South Africa has among the highest stats in the world around GBV and violence against women. 1 in 3 women in South Africa will experience sexual attacks. 2 in 5 women will be beaten by their domestic partners. Between 30 and 40% of women have experienced sexual or physical intimate partner violence in their lifetime. It's really a society where violence has become normalized.
Women of our country.
South Africa has a highly traumatic past, and really what happened during that past, if you go into that history, human life did not matter. It really became a society where people became dehumanized, and I think that you're seeing that really play itself out in society here now. So for example, when we do have crime, the brutality with which that crime is perpetrated is just mind-boggling. And it's not just the historical background. I mean, there are other factors that contribute. It's not as simple as that. It's a highly patriarchal society. Add into that historical background, and often in many patriarchal societies, it's considered taboo to even speak about what happens in the home. We have high levels of inequality. Post-apartheid, there was an expectation that people would now suddenly matter, that their lives would matter, that they would become, valued citizens of this country, and that did not happen. And so, the inequalities are absolutely huge and are getting worse. And I think it really boils down to one thing. Nobody ever dealt with the post-traumatic stress of this society. I think this is a highly traumatized society, and nobody ever talked about it or dealt with it. It's really got to be a very multi-layered strategy. First and foremost, let's fix the justice system. There's no real prosecutions that take place. And, if you look at the period between March and April, where there were like 5,082 cases, of those, there were 3,373 arrests, right? And of those, only 204 were ever prosecuted. So the prosecution rate in this country is really low, right? And the reason for that is that the police do not investigate these cases properly. So, you have a case, it's very clear that, there's a perpetrator, they will arrest the perpetrator, but the investigation process is extremely flawed. So by the time the prosecution gets the docket, they are unable to prosecute. And most of the time, these people are let out on bail, they go back and they re-offend. And I think that if we start there, if we start fixing the criminal justice system, if there is a deterrent, if you know that if you do this, you will be prosecuted, you will not escape the net of the law, then it might act as a deterrent. On the other hand, we do need to have a very strong re-education program, if you want to call that, where we start in schools, where we really start to really talk very openly about the history of this country, what it did, what happened, and how we need to overcome it. There's got to be post-trauma counseling. There's no trust in the system, that it'll protect them, that it'll protect their women and girls. And I think, the solution is that the state actually sit down and develop a top to bottom, bottom to up approach, which really looks long-term and short-term. So short-term is fix the police and how they investigate, make sure that cases are prosecuted, and long-term, start a process of healing with society.